Greetings, YouTube. My wife and I watched the movie Black Sheep last night, so if you haven't seen it yet and don't want it spoiled, stop watching now. Okay, this was a very entertaining film. It reminded me a great deal of Shaun of the Dead, as it is a comedy horror, and they really hit the tone just right. Because to do comedy horror right, you can't have too much comedy, because if there aren't a few thrills, a few horror elements, it really doesn't make the cut for a horror film. And too much horror, not enough laughs, and it fails at the comedy. So getting that mix right is difficult, and I think this movie nailed it. The premise of the film is a sheep ranch in New Zealand. I know, New Zealand with a sheep ranch, what a shock. And they're experimenting at making the best sheep there is, the perfect sheep. And to do so, they use genetically modified human DNA. A dumb idea, I know, but it's a great science fiction trope, so why not use it? There's also the context going on of two rival brothers, one who's terrified of sheep, and the other who owns the farm and is the one in charge of this project. Some environmentalists break in to break the news that these people are doing experiments they shouldn't be doing, and they release a toxin into the environment, which then infects the sheep and begins the whole movie's insanity. Essentially, you have a film about carnivorous were-sheep. Sheep infected with this contaminant become carnivorous and begin to eat people. People who are bitten and survive begin to turn into carnivorous were-sheep. It's very silly. It's also very entertaining. And in a couple of different scenes, when sheep are attacking people, there's someone using a fake sheep, and they're literally throwing the sheep onto the scene. So there'd be a person like here, terrified, and then you see this sheep go out of nowhere and nail them in the head. It was cracking my wife up, this sheep flying through the air. Well, obviously it's not a real sheep. And it was very funny. The characters were different enough amongst the writing style that I found them entertaining. The acting was solid. I didn't know any of these actors. I think they're all from New Zealand, and this may be some of their first work in a quote-unquote big film. And it was refreshing to see new faces. I really enjoyed that. I think they all got their characters down. Their characters were a little thin, but they're supposed to be kind of stereotypical horror movie characters, so that's to be expected. You had the environmentalists, you had the sheep owner, you had the terrified guy, you had the sheep hand, and they were all, in my mind, very well executed. I enjoyed watching this, and I'll be watching it again because this DVD comes with commentary, and I love watching films with commentary. But the first time through, I want to watch the film as it was presented in the theaters. Definitely is a film I recommend for anyone who enjoys comedies or horror movies, or has a particular liking for that kind of Shaun of the Dead kind of film. I also thought it was good as a source of ideas for role-playing games, particularly in the science fiction or in the post-apocalyptic genre, if you like doing kind of a wacky, goofy game, because introducing the prospect of having characters turned into carnivorous were-sheep is just too bloody funny. So 2 thumbs up on this one, man. It was a great trip. I definitely recommend anyone who enjoys comedy horror check this film out.